Welcome to the True Grime Stories podcast, where in every episode, we'll unravel a new mystery of cleaning business transformation from a grimy mess to a great success. Join me, your host, Jeannie Henderson, as together we dig up cleaning business secrets that you've been dying to know. Hello, everyone in the residential cleaning industry out there. I'm your host, Jeannie Henderson with True Grime Stories, and I'm so glad you're here today. And I think you will be too, because our guest, Taresa Spiroff, the owner of CleanFlorida, is here in the house, and she's got some great grime stories to share, I'm sure. And she has been in Florida for 20 years. She went to Florida with a suitcase and $500 and a dream. I love that story. Started her cleaning business in 2006. She now has a team of 30, probably 30 plus people. And she's been in the service and hospitality industry for over 30 years. So she has a lot to share, I'm sure. And she is known for excellence and getting really involved in her community. And I have known Taresa for many years and have admired and watched her grow and her rising star. And I know she's going to do many other things. She also is an Airbnb owner. So we were talking about that a little bit before we came on. And one thing I love about her is she loves chocolate, and I do too. So let's welcome our friend Taresa Spiroff. Hi, Taresa. How are you doing today?
I'm awesome, Jeannie. How are you?
I am so happy to be here with you. I know it's taken us a little while to make this happen. So, it's hard to get busy business owners to just sit in one place for 20 and 30 minutes and talk.
Yes. Well, thank you for being patient with me as well.
Of course. Yeah, we wouldn't give up on Taresa. We definitely wanted to have a talk with you. So, here at True Grime Stories, we know that a lot of us in the cleaning industry, didn't really ever plan to have the business that we have today. So can you share with us how you got started?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me. So I really started my cleaning business as a fluke. I was bartending at a pretty seasonal bar down here in Naples, and it was around the holidays. And one of my bar guests asked if I wanted to make some extra money for Christmas. And they had a vacation rental to clean. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. So I went to Walmart, I bought cleaning supplies, I cleaned this vacation rental, they gave me $100. And I'm like, well, that was easy. And I started building my business across the bar. You remember those old perforated business cards that you could print out and then unperforate them?
Oh, yeah. You buy them in a little thing.
Buy a sheet from
like
Office Max or whatever. And so I printed those out. I thought I had made it. I used
got
to
a business card.
I have a business card. I used to try to get the perforation off, so it seemed even better.
Oh my goodness.
I used to pass those cards out across the bar to my bar guests, and they would write their address on a bev nap, hand me their keys, and slide their keys across the bar to me and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, we're leaving for a couple weeks. Can you just clean while we're gone or whatever? And I just, they trust their bartender. They trusted their bartender. So
well, they'll tell you anything, right?
I know.
Why not come see the inside of my house?
Absolutely. Here's the keys. Come on over. And so that's how I started. And I cleaned on my own for probably about a year and a half and just part-time. And then I hired a gal, and her and I cleaned together for like another probably year and a half. And then I just started hiring more people. I tried to get out of the field, and it took a decade, and which I think is a lot of people have the same struggle. But I remember like my first $100,000 year, and one of my family members had said something about like my part-time gig. I'm like, I've made it. Like I have this huge business. It's $100,000. And I was so proud of myself. But then all the struggles start. Once you start hitting some of these, firsts, then there's more chaos.
Right. There's a new kind of chaos every time you reach a new height. Then it brings some other challenge, right? And
absolutely.
Yeah. And I love your story though. That is so great how your business just kind of organically grew from one career into another.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
Yeah. That first client, they're still a client.
Oh,
20
that is,
years later. 20 years later. Now, are they a little difficult? Yes, they are. Do they need special VIP treatment and don't pay hardly anything? Yes, yes, they
yes.
do. But like I should interview them because they changed my life. Like they really did.
Hmm.
Like that one conversation. It's just when I think about that, like
Do they know?
they know, they do know, but and I haven't talked to them in years. And I used to
Oh,
clean their house, and
right. Oh
so
my
it's
goodness.
needs now. That was a good reminder. I need to reach out to them because they are
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
they're VIPs. I should be cleaning for them for free, please. I'm gonna
right.
write a note.
And I mean, that's a really like, we all have kind of those sentimental clients that, will
Yeah,
clean for them for almost nothing. They've been with us for so long and, we watch their kids grow and all of that. But that's a
yeah,
really cool story. And I bet they have no idea what you've accomplished and how it has impacted your life. Just that one moment in time,
yeah.
that God brought the two people together and everything changed. It's just
Absolutely. Yeah,
crazy.
it is a cool story. And it's a good reminder like where I've come from, and like there's been lots highs and lows along the way, but way more highs, of course. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, and everybody, you will have to check out Teresa's brand and her business. She's just doing so many amazing things. I just was recently on a call with Teresa, and she was just blowing me away with all of the great ideas that she was
oh, thank you.
sharing. And it doesn't matter how long you're in business. I've been in business. I hate to say how long because then you can figure out how old I am, but
You know,
many decades. And I constantly still meet entrepreneurs like you who inspire me. And like, I learned something new every
hmm
time, I take a moment to do that. And that's why we do True Grime Stories, is because we all have something we can learn from each other and something to share. And you have tried things that other people haven't tried. So let's dig into that a little bit. And
Okay.
let's talk about, think back on a time when you were running into one of those spots. You were talking about how, oh, I'm so proud I reached this point, but now everything is broken. What's one that pops into your mind? We call them grime scenes here at True Grime Stories. So what grime scene pops into your mind?
Well, there was a time when I kind of knew that I needed help. Like I really knew I needed help, and I was my daughter was in middle school, and I would pick her up from middle school, and get in the car and like, how was your day? And she, fine, whatever. And she's like, how was your day? And I just was like, I threw up all over her basically. I'm like, oh, this happened, and this client, and this employee, and I'm had to clean a house today, or and just on and on. Like, and I was just like, I went from like 0 to 100, like all over her
Mm.
for no reason. And she just like looked at me, and then later that night she said, like, I hate pickup because I don't know who I'm getting in the car with. Like happy
Oh.
mom, or I know I could cry, or like intense mom because of work. And I thought, oh my gosh, that just gutted me, because all I could think of was I started my business for time freedom with my daughter. Like I'm a single
Mhm.
mom. I've always been a single mom. I'm like, I was trying to create this business that I could spend time with her and had flexible scheduling. And I thought, oh my gosh, my middle school daughter, it's like the worst time in their lives, like
Okay.
mentally, they're a
Mhm.
mess. And she's trying to support her grown up mother. And that's when I
Mm.
realized, okay, like I need systems in place so I don't have to be like that only person that knows everything. And I think that was at that time was the big struggle was um, anytime someone's like, hey, Teresa, hey, Teresa, hey, Teresa, I'm like, I really, like, I need to write this down. I need a process in place. I need a system. And what was stopping me was because I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted it to
Mhm.
be like perfectly organized, perfectly, typed out. so then it froze me. So then I didn't do it. So like after that moment in the car and that evening with my daughter, I'm like, okay, done is better than perfect. And just start typing it out. Even if it's a sentence, it doesn't matter. Like if someone says, hey, Teresa, that means they don't know. They have to ask me. And that was really a pivotal moment, is trying to create processes and playbook. I mean, people call them playbooks now. I don't know. I'm sure I didn't call it playbooks, back then.
We called them operations manuals back when I started, like SOPs, whatever. Yeah.
SOPs, yeah. And an SOP sounded super fancy to me, but I'm like, so that's what froze me. I'm like, just get it on paper. And so just creating that, starting to create that documentation of what to do if, really was pivotal for me to not have to answer all the questions in this, because it's so stressful if you're the only one that knows. And it really froze me from growing because I was busy in the business, micro running it, like all the little details, like silly stuff. And it froze me at a certain level of my business for a decade, for years and years. I was at like a certain revenue and I just couldn't get out of it. And it was not a good place to be.
Yeah. Well, you had that like curse of perfectionism, which, a lot of entrepreneurs do. And I think it's really rampant in the cleaning industry because we love to make things perfect. But you became like the hub of like your business as a wheel that, a wheel won't roll if the hub isn't in place. Right. So like, and you just made yourself so needed in your business.
Yeah.
That like you could only do so much. Like you can only bear so much of the burden. But if we aren't like giving that away to people or somehow getting it out of here onto paper or into a document or into a video, like we're trapped.
You'll never, like it was a real eye opener. I'm like, I'll never, ever grow out of this stage I'm in. And then trusting the people that you surround yourself with to then just take it to the next, follow through. And that's a whole other, beast is, developing a team and all of these things that you don't know. I don't know how to do that. Like I've never developed a team in my life. I can tell people what to do all day long, but to coach and lead people. And this is, a newer revelation is, develop leaders. I don't want to manage people. I want to lead leaders. And gosh, I wish I learned that 20 years ago.
Right. Yeah. And it is just our eyes get opened to more, bigger ideas as we grow as leaders. We become, more open to all of that. So would you say it was the revelation of that or the actual action of creating that system that kind of then allowed you to move to the next level?
Well, it started with the revelation, certainly. And then I did struggle with how to implement. I'm not a great implementer, and that's great advice I would give to other business owners. Most of us aren't implementers. We're the dreamers. We have these great ideas. And then we also tend to hire people just like us because like, I like a sparkly person. Like I love people with ideas.
You are so sparkly, Teresa. Like, you have like such a sparkling, like demeanor about yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see that. Just a bunch of sparkling people. Yeah.
Right. But guess what? Those sparkly people, guess what they don't do? They also don't implement. So it was a couple of things. It was like coming to the realization, like it needed to get done. And then finding the people that could help me then implement it. And I, one of the things about being in a community like ours is being in a cohort or like finding your tribe within like a larger community. And thank goodness I went to a CBF pros call and none of my cohort showed up. Well, guess who jumped into my cohort with me? Miss Debbie Sardone. She's like, Teresa, you're all by yourself. I'm like, so I start sweating, of course, even though I've known Debbie for many years. I still get nervous around her. She's, famous to me. And
she's
so
famous.
She's like, she's like, what are you working on? Like, let's brainstorm. I'm like, well, I cannot get my brain around these these systems, these, my, what are they called? My playbooks. And so she's like, let me show you mine. So she like goes into her Google Drive. She shows me this sheet. And I learned that day how to, this is so dumb, but I learned how to attach a document link to a spreadsheet, which I didn't know how to do. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, this was a $10,000 phone call for sure that I didn't have to research. And I just started then creating this library of all of these links to all these Google Docs that I had all over the place and couldn't find them when I needed them.
Right.
And so is it perfect? No. Can you find stuff in the hub? We call it the hub. Like,
that's great. Yeah.
And we just keep growing it. So, and then, sorry, I'm all over the place now talking about.
No, that's okay. So so we kind of like circle back on that is we really aren't implementers, most entrepreneurs. We really need somebody to help us organize things or get things done. We tend to be starters, not finishers,
Yes.
And, anybody out there who's listening, if you are beating yourself up because you can't finish anything, that's okay. Because it actually takes both kinds of people to keep the world going around. We need these dreamers and big idea people, and then we need people who can make it happen. But it's usually not the same person. And, so that's a really good point right there that people really need to make note of because we do surround ourselves with people like us, and that can cause some problems. But then to, find a system that works, and you were leaning into a community, the Cleaning Business Fundamentals community. And you mentioned CBF Pros, which is the, kind of upper level in CBF, where those are business owners of $500,000 or more working in small groups we call cohorts. So what a fortuitous day for you that nobody showed up because you got to have a one-to-one with Debbie Sardone. And those things happen.
They do.
It happened in a group that I was in yesterday almost. So those kinds of things can be very helpful. Just plugging into a group because you get ideas you didn't even know. So let's take a break right here because I want to go dive deeper. Gosh, can't talk. Dive deeper into that a little bit in a minute. But let's hear a little message about our sponsor, CBF, and we'll be right back. Is your cleaning business a grime story? There's no need to stay stuck in the muck because you're not alone. With over 500 active members and more than 500 graduates of our Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, CBF is the #1 cleaning business academy in the world and has created more mop-free millionaires than any program in the industry. Learn more and let CBF take your residential cleaning business from a grime story to a gleaming success. Well, welcome back, everyone, to True Grime Stories. I'm your host, Jeannie Henderson, and I'm here with Taresa Spiroff from CleanFlorida in Naples, Florida. And Taresa, you were sharing about how you had this, epiphany that you were stuck because you were the only one who knew how to do everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we keep that in our brain and it doesn't go somewhere else, we're the only one that people can ask questions of.
Right.
So when you started creating your operations manual, playbook, SOPs, whatever we want to call it, putting them in a Google Doc, which is a great way to organize them. What started to happen then? What started to happen in your business when you finally were able to get all this out in somewhere else?
Yeah, that's a great question because it really then freed me up to do higher level tasks and strategies. If you're in the weeds of running your, if you're doing the work, if you're in the weeds running your business and taking care of urgent things, one of my favorite quotes from the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People is like learning the difference between what's urgent and what's important. And I was living in the urgent. And so once because people needed me they needed me and it was urgent. They needed an answer. And it really freed me up to then work on what was important. And what was important for me was, of course, growing my business, because with that, like my higher purpose is to really support other women as a single mom, like it's really important to me to show women in our industry and as part of my team, like you can do anything. Like I want to develop just like the best cleaning technicians and support team in my community, because they're a reflection of me. And I want them to know that it doesn't matter where you started and that you just have so much potential. And so it's important for me to grow my business so that I can employ more people, and plus, of course, have, financial and time freedom. I mean, who doesn't want that?
Right. But I love that. I mean, your purpose kind of drives all of that, right? But you can't do it if you're not growing.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And really, having those people around you makes a huge difference, and finding the right team to support you and your drive and your vision. It is a mistake I made early on, and for many, many years, is not investing in my team, but more importantly, not investing in myself. And as soon as I started investing in myself first, and then also my team, and that could be giving them coaching and or paying more money to attract better people, it changed everything.
Wow. Yeah. And, when you started, and I think for a lot of us, and just how you had mentioned, we don't start, because number one, we don't know where to start, but the number two, we can't finish the project all at one time.
Yeah.
So when you started creating these, playbooks or SOPs, where did you start? Did you start small? Was it just like the cleaning process, or,
yeah.
Was it, and like you said, just write one sentence. Like what did it look like?
Well, I did a couple of things that were really helpful. Was I did it. It didn't need to be perfect. And it was it started with what to do if, because I felt like that was what I was getting a lot of questions about. Like, what do we do if an employee gets bit by a dog? Somebody called off sick. A client thinks we stole something. Your CRM doesn't work. Your power goes out. Like all of these things that just happened every day. Like it just happens.
Oh my gosh. I love this.
Yeah. What to do.
What do you do if? Right. Yeah. I mean, if you just start there.
Just start there. And I then utilized, ChatGPT a lot, especially I still use it all the time, but I put my brain into ChatGPT. I'm like, okay, what to do if somebody gets bit by a dog? That just happened recently. And I'm like, I just typed out from my brain what to do. ChatGPT made it pretty. I copy and paste it into Google Drive and Doc, and then I edit it to my library with a link. So my whole team can see the library and click on it. So there's not like this panic. And the what to do if section was the beginning. And we just built from there, and then started.
And I think that's so cool though. Sorry to interrupt, but what you just said there is just like so solid gold. I think we really need to just stop there and talk about it, because so many of us get so frozen because we think we have to put our every single process word for word into a document at one time. And it's like, you are, number one, you started to do what to do if with whatever you could think of at first, but then in real time, you're capturing it as it happens. Like somebody got bit by a dog today. So as I'm dealing with it, I'm recording my process. Boom, it goes in there.
Right.
And so now it's in there.
It's in there. And the nice thing about, we use Google Workspace now. And what we really like about it is that Google document can be changed whenever, but still stay the same. So you don't have to search through is it in my Google Drive? Is it in my assistant's Google Drive? Is it in my manager's Google Drive? It's like, well, it doesn't matter whose drive it's in. It's linked in the hub, and that document can be edited by any of us with that have the permissions to edit. And so if a process does change, what to do if you get bit by a dog, maybe where you send them changes, or the person that they contact has to change. So you don't have to recreate the whole thing. You don't have to dig around in Google drives, which can be overwhelming because I
Yes.
don't know where any of my stuff is. I couldn't tell
Yeah.
you where anything is right now. I can go to the
Right.
hub.
Right. Yeah.
But creating that what to do if was such a relief. And then, so we started with like management, what to do if, and then from there, it was employees, what to do if I get bit by a dog, because they have the same, we found, of course, when we were developing these processes, they have the same questions. What to do if I'm sick, if my car breaks down, if I get in a car accident, if I get bit by a dog, if my kid is sick. What if there's a catastrophic disaster? Like, God forbid, like what if somebody really gets hurt, or there's a hurricane or whatever? Like, what to do if they lose their phone, their keys, they get locked out of a house, all of those things. Oh my gosh. Because now my field manager, she doesn't have to ask me what to do if an employee locks their keys in their car or whatever.
Yeah. And that right there is like what some other people call it is a knowledge base, right? So, and people can access it at any time. And the cool thing about working in Google, and not all platforms have this, but Google keeps every revision. So like if you change something, you're like, what did it say before? You can go back and find it, right? So you don't like when you
that.
I shared something with you.
I love this.
Yeah. So you can click on file, and then I think you go down to like revision history or revisions or history, something like that. You can click on it, and then it will show you all the times that was changed.
Nice.
And you can click on one of the previous ones. It's still out there.
Nice. Oh, that's amazing. I love that because sometimes you're like, oh, shoot. Or maybe someone from your team switched it and you're like, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Right. Yeah. No. Oh my gosh. This is solid gold. And I think that it's one of the big struggles that we have that holds us back from what could be for the growth of our business. And I know for our team, for sure, this is one of the things we talk about all the time. So thank you for sharing that. And
of course.
What is your business? Where was your business at when you realized this, and where is it at today?
Okay. So I was probably at about 850 in revenue. It was my run rate because that was when I just like, you can't do it on your own. You simply cannot. And
people try.
I tried. I tried real hard. Or I had a $15 an hour manager. Like, no one's managing your business at $15 an hour, right?
Right.
And I found I was mad, not at my technicians. Like, this is like my support team at this one. Like, I'm mad at them because they don't know. I'm like, why am I mad at them? They don't know. So it was about that 850 is when I discovered that, and I discovered CBF around this at the same time. And I was in a really dire, it was February of 2020, by the way. I went to my first CBF call. Thank goodness I got on that call. Thank God. I mean, seriously, it changed my life, of course.
I feel the same. Like, I'm so glad I was where I was when the curtain came down in 2020.
Absolutely. I mean, we thrived. But so I was at about 850 then and had been there for many years. And then last month I was at a $2.4 million run rate.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
It was so exciting.
Yeah, it's so great. But we have to develop systems in our business, and then we also have to develop a way to transmit that knowledge, right, to others. And I'm a student of ancient history, and it's one of my little hobbies. And I love to watch documentaries. And the societies that thrive are the ones who figure out ways to transmit knowledge to the next generation, to other people. And so the written word became the power of civilization because people could record, whether it was hieroglyphics or, something that they carved into a rock. People could start telling stories in a way that outlived them or could be there when they weren't there. And that's really what you've done is you've like built your business through then being able to transmit your knowledge to others. It's kind of like downloading
Yeah.
everything that's in here and into someplace else. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes we just wish that, not that I do want robots, but that we, could just plug a little thumb drive in here and,
Mm-hmm.
plug it in somewhere else and it would work. But yeah,
Right. Right.
that
I
is
mean, and
so
you
good.
just have to do it. I mean, it's not the fun part of your career, your job. It's not fun. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's redundant. It's boring for me, especially if you're not a like I'm not a processes person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very much so like bullet points person. I don't read things. I'm like, I just need like quick information to make
Mm-hmm.
decisions. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm very fast at that. So for me, it's really, really painful. But now, I mean, but without it, you will not, for me, like I can't see you being free from the day to day. Like, no.
Yeah,
Because
right.
you
Yeah. Well, and
just
with
got to get through
technology
it.
today, there are so many tools, like you mentioned, Google Workspace and using AI, and there are lots of others. My team uses an app called Connect Team where you can kind of
Yeah.
build your knowledge base inside of it. So there's all kinds of trainual and tools that
Yeah.
help you. Yeah.
And it
So,
doesn't have to be expensive either. Like
oh no, Google
like Google's
Workspace
free.
is
I mean,
free.
or
Google Sheets
yeah,
is free. That's all you need. Google Sheets and Google Docs.
yeah.
Really, you can do
don't
it for
get
free.
don't get bogged down in like the next latest. I mean, we all have done this where like, well,
Mhm.
this is the best, or try my not training program, my
Yeah.
organizational, here's a
Yeah.
great new tool, playbooks, training, blah blah blah. And like, oh, I'll go spend $1,000 on this and then that. Like, Google's fine or whatever. Like, start somewhere, and you can
Yes.
start for free.
Start there, right? It's just
Yeah.
so easy and it's free. And if you don't
Hmm.
know how to use it, that's what YouTube is for. So it will teach you it in no time at all. Or you can just ask AI. I do that a lot
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So all that being said, life has changed a lot for you. And,
Hmm.
we build our businesses like you were talking about in the beginning to serve our lives, but often we end up serving our business instead.
Hmm.
And so now, how has your life changed now that you're no longer, trapped in that role of being the only one who knows? How does that freedom change your life? What's different for you and what's in the future for Teresa?
Oh gosh, I have so, I mean, I love what I do now, and I didn't always love my job. It was a job.
Mm-hmm.
Like I created a job for myself, and oftentimes a not paying job. Like I paid everybody else first, and I
Yes.
never paid myself. Like there's just so many like if that's happening to others, you're not alone, because there's many of us that have gone through this journey where
Mm-hmm.
you're flat broke, you're not paying yourself, you don't know how you're going to meet payroll, and then developing just some processes and systems then has freed me up to really be able to. I can work from anywhere now. Like, I'm completely remote. I can work from my laptop. I can go visit my daughter who's moving to New York in a couple of days. I can go see her and with my
Mm-hmm.
laptop, and I've been able to just do things I love to do. I love renovating homes. I love travel and just not worry about like the day-to-day grind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can be creative and come up with ideas, and that's so fun for me. So it's really, really freed me to do all the things that I want to do again.
Yeah, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Teresa, for like opening up and sharing that. This is something that I think many, as we know, many people struggle with, and they just don't even know where to begin. And you gave some great points on just where to start and start
Yeah.
small and make it work. So thank you so much. So closing off today, our True Grime Stories episode, what's one thing that you would share with people about um, how to make a difference in their business and in their lives as business owners? You shared a lot, but we'll give you one more chance to share one last thing before we go.
I would say give yourself some grace, that, every day is a new day to do better, and surround yourself with people who are just as inspiring as you are or you want to be, because you can't go it alone. And, we've probably maybe not everybody's heard this, but, show me the 5 people you spend your time with and I'll show you who you are. And I have worked really hard over the last, decade, 5 years for sure, to surround myself with really amazing people. And it makes such an incredible impact on your life. And yeah, give yourself some grace. Don't fall into doom and gloom. Let it wash by you.
That's
Let
right.
it wash by you. There's a lot going on in the world. Put your blinders on and be around people who are amazing and smart and that want to do something with their life. And whether it's in your community or in business or whatever, whatever makes your soul happy, then that's who you need to be with, because it's fuel for the fire of positivity.
So good. Yeah. And I'm a testament to that too, that the people that you surround yourself with do determine where you're headed. Yeah. We reflect. People, we're a reflective species. We mirror each other. And so if you're mirroring someone who's negative all the time, it's going to pull you down. It's going to hold you back. So beautiful way to end today. Yeah. Thank you so much, Taresa. That was so great. And we're so glad that you could be part of True Grime Stories today.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun, and anytime.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And to our friends out there in the residential cleaning community, we are so glad for your support here at True Grime Stories. You keep us going. So if there's a story you want to hear, please put that in the comments. We want to hear from you, and be sure to subscribe, download, and share this episode with your friends. And thank you for being part of True Grime Stories today. Bye, everybody. That's a wrap on today's True Grime Stories. Thanks for joining us in uncovering the secrets of cleaning business success. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and download, and check out our show notes for links and info from today's episode, and to learn more about our sponsor, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Join us next time as we solve another True Grime story.